Howdy rock stars, Lid Shaw here, and welcome back to another cool plugin review for Recording Studio Rockstars. So today I've got one that comes in from a company called Audified.com. They make a bunch of cool plugins, and these particular ones are the U73b and the U78, which are both modeled after the vintage Telefunken vari U73 compressor. So this is some pretty cool stuff. I think you'll dig it. Here we are. Here's what it looks like in my Pro Tools session. And let's see, this is actually the compressor first. So you see what the interface looks like. And it basically looks like the unit. So they used to have these slide-in modules that would slide right into a console. This is actually the handle that would let you, you could kind of lever it out. I don't know if I'm on the screen now or not, but you could lever it out, pull it down, and then you could just pull the whole unit out, and everything was pretty cool. But it's also got some of the original stuff that's in here. Actually, the way I've got it, I'm viewing it right now, is in English, but when you're inside the settings here, it comes looking even like the German unit, so everything's in German, which is kind of cool, but obviously, since I'm in America, I'm going to need to be able to read it. So I switched it over. You just go to UI language, switch it to English, and you can see what everything is. First thing you see over here is a calibration input. Then the second module over here gives you some compression stuff. You can choose to put it in compressor mode, bypass, or limiter. You've got release times over here too. I don't know that these actually do anything. I think those are part of the original tweaking settings or something, like you put a screwdriver in there or something. Over here, you've got output or input and output settings. You can change your meter so you can see what it's doing. Normally when I'm using a compressor, I always leave it in GR for gain reduction. And then you also have this on-off switch here, and that does an auto adjust for the output. So as you adjust your input, it compensates at your output to try and keep your level the same. What that means is that when you're setting tones and you're trying to figure out where you want to put it, you can kind of leave it at the same level in your mix, but you can adjust the input and sort of hear the difference on how it works. So a cool little feature. Jump over. We're going to listen to these both in just one sec, but let me just show you what the interfaces look like. Jump over. This is the U78 Saturator, which is modeled after all the tube circuitry in the U73b, but it's designed to basically just give you extra compression and crunch and saturation. Same thing, calibration for input. You've got a gain for your input here. You got low pass and high pass filters. You have a tone knob that you can go from dark to bright settings, so that's pretty cool. And then you've got a mix, so you can blend it in, or just, you'd have the raw bypassed, or you could have all saturated. Same thing, the auto matching feature right there. Another thing, actually I'll come back to that and show you just one sec. So let me zoom back out a little bit, and I'm going to bypass this, let you guys hear what our audio sounds like. I got a little drum loop going, and check this out. So pretty fat loop right there. Good hip hop tone, and it's already sounding pretty crunchy, but we'll add these in one at a time so you can hear what they do. Here's the saturator put in. Now it got a little louder too, so I'll try and match the level a little more so you don't get totally fooled by that. But if you bring this calibration down and just come up, you can hear it start to squeeze it. It kind of compresses it too. It doesn't really get any louder. It just gets more squashed, squishy tube sound. Crank it all the way and it starts to get a little bit too much. Then come over to the gain knob. Oh, and you see I have the auto matching feature on, so this is turning when I do the gain. And then you can do the low pass filter if you want. So you can kind of filter it out or take the top off. It sort of jumps to 8. So it does, after 8K, it's variable down to whatever. And then the high pass filter, same thing. I think it jumps to 30 and then goes up from there. But you could just kind of leave a lot of things at 30 if you want. If you want to save your very low subs for just particular instruments, you really hear it there. So let me turn those off, and then we'll mess with the tone knob as well. Pretty cool. You can actually hear it boosting the resonance of the low end down here too. There you go. Really hear that. So that's pretty cool. You know, it does a lot of cool stuff. Let me bring this back up. All right, and let's go into the compressor and see what it's doing. So I'm going to leave the saturator on while we mess with the compressor. So I'm messing with my zoomed in screen here, so you guys can see this. That's bypassed. That's bringing the compressor in. We'll jack up the gain here, or the input calibration. You can see it actually gets kind of quieter because it's compressing it so much. So I kind of look for a sweet spot here. If you put this on a fast release, you can see the needle bounces back in between drum hits, so in between the kick and snare hits. Put it on a longer release and it just stays compressed longer, or limited. Now I'm in compressor mode, and you can hear it's a really different sound. So I think this would be handy for things like bass and vocals, but limiting is really handy for drums. Also, you can hear that it's, when I flip it around, it really kind of freaks out the circuitry and goes into hyper compressed mode. Real bright top too. All right, cool. So that's basically what this does. You'd have to get it and play it around with it. They do, on the Audified.com website, have a 30-day trial, so I'll include a link to that right below in the show notes. You can go check that out. And then also, let me show you what else there is. This is a cool feature. So inside each of these plugins, you actually have, you have the settings here. And when you go into the settings, you've got oversampling as a selection. You've got some other things. You can change the color. You can set this as your calibrated default for this. Go look at the manual, get your updates, blah, 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 all kinds of stuff you kind of expect. But the oversampling is pretty cool. So you flip this on, and it really changes the audio quality and increases it. And now you might or might not be able to notice that difference right now. Let me bring up the, oops, wrong one, not disk usage. Let me pull up the system usage. So what this does is this shows you, look, my system is cranking right now, and it's using a ton of power, and it's almost maxing out my computer to have this on. When I turn the oversampling back off, it drops down to a way, way, way lower system usage. So what that means is that if I tried to turn this on, I could do it for one or two plugins, but I can barely, one plugin, and I can process something. There you go. I was already having trouble. Oh, I may have lost my interface. I hope not. But if I turn on oversampling for both, it's maxing out. If I hit play, I'm just going to lose Pro Tools for a sec. There you go. So as you can see, that doesn't even work. It just gives me an error. But what you can do is you can turn them on and then use the freeze feature in Pro Tools to lock in that track setting. And then it frees up your resources, your processing power again, so that you don't run out of juice with your computer. So I set this up just like a good baking show. I've already pre-baked it for you so you can check it out. Let me pull up my two tracks and show you what that looks like. So here, I'll hide this guy. All right, so here we are. This will be a little different setting that I had, but these were matched. So what I've got here is on the first plugin, I've got the saturator set, but it's in the oversampling is off, and then I've got the compressor set, and you've got raw audio, raw audio like this. And then here they are on. Sounding pretty cool. But let me make this guy inactive, and let's go unmute this. So what this is this is the exact same settings on these plugins, but then I froze the track using the freeze feature. Actually, if I was on this guy and I was still active, I would go, all right, it's taking a moment to think. All right, I would right click on this and I would do freeze, and it makes it into this track right here above. So let me press play. All right, and the reason I unmuted these is so I can go back and forth so you can hear the difference. Here's the non-oversampled version, and then I'll go up and unmute the oversampled version so you can, as quickly as I can. It's tricky on the ear to hear the differences between stuff unless they're really fast side by side, but let's see if we hear it. Okay, so this is regular. Oversampled. Regular. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys could hear that, but there's definitely like a fidelity. You can just sort of hear a clarity in the oversampled version that's just a little bit more realistic and a little bit better quality than the regular one. The regular one sounds great, and it sounds like what we're used to with a lot of plugins. It's sort of the level of quality that you'd typically hear and stuff. But it's kind of cool to have that oversampling feature so you can process it and you can take it up another level. You could, of course, use that individual plugin on a master track as well if you wanted to just process it like you were really running it through a piece of gear. And so you could process it that way. So pretty cool thing. Again, you can go check out both these plugins at audified.com. I've got a link right here in the show notes. And let me take you to the website and show you what that looks like as well. Here you are. This is the audified.com website. And you see you got the U73b compressor. The price on them right now is $149, so not bad for a great sounding compressor, great sounding plugin, because obviously it would cost a lot more than that to go pick up a copy at, if you tried to get a real version of this Telefunken compressor. And then they've just got a bunch of other products on here too, so go check them all out. Here's the U78 Saturator, same price also as well, 30-day trial. You could go check it out. I don't know what the limitation is on the trial, so you might be able to actually go process a bunch of stuff and try it on your mix now and then come back later and buy it if you need to. But go check out the trial and pick up yourself a copy of the Audified U78 and U73b. Peace. We'll see you guys around the studio, rock stars. Please remember to like this video and hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on our YouTube videos here at Recording Studio Rockstars. We'll see you guys around the studio. Cheers.